Let's bring up that Marvel trailer. Let's do this.
Miss Marvel.
For anybody who's a diehard MCU fan, I apologize. We're 16 minutes in. We're only talking about Marvel now. Whoops.
No, we
Got
got
him.
Got him.
Oh.
Let's go.
All right, you ready? All right,
Yeah,
three,
I'm not ready, but let's go.
Okay, so first off, I just want to say, I get it.
You get what?
High school.
Kamala.
Another Avengers shirt. Cute.
She thinks
Mephisto.
I'm some kind of weirdo.
You were weird.
Boys. Excuse me.
Yeah.
You're kind of on my shirt.
Sorry.
But you're staring out the window in your little fantasy land. Kamala, hey. Already? Really? Come on, like,
Do I have to figure out my whole future before lunch, or is there like... Maybe they're right. I spend too much time in fantasy land.
That is not you.
It's not really the brown girls from Jersey City who save the world. That's a fantasy too.
did something happen to you?
No, why? Did you hear something?
Kamala? What does it feel like?
Cosmic. I always thought I wanted this kind of life, but I never imagined any of
This song
it.
just slaps, bro.
Yeah, it's a
It
banger.
totally does.
You are.
It's kind of them cheating putting it in, isn't it?
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah.
I'm sorry, YouTube. I love that shot. That's the best shot of the
Yeah,
whole
that-
trailer.
That's an iconic shot that's even in the comics that like it just blows my mind how well they got that shot in.
Yeah, it looks great. I really like, if you want to just mute it and maybe just play it back again, just so we don't get absolutely destroyed in YouTube for this. I love the start of this, like the kind of comic, like the bubbles and stuff, and the drawing and everything, and all this clicking and stuff. Do you think this is going to go on throughout the entire show, or is this just all for like an intro, like do it for one episode and then it kind of like fades to the background, like, you know?
That's a good question, because it really only seems like it's even in the first like 5 or like 30 seconds of the trailer, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And then they kind of forget about it. It almost feels like it's like when she starts to daydream a little bit is when it starts
Right.
popping up. So maybe like sporadically throughout the whole series, but definitely not like a mainstay of it.
But do you
Yeah.
think it's going to be like a more comic based thing, or do you think it's just more like alongside what you said of that it was a dream, or that they're dream based kind of things? Because if we're talking actual comic based stuff, it would be pretty cool. But this is a high school student,
Yeah.
so I mean, I totally understand. You could see that with the bubbles, like the speech bubbles, they're made of paper, so it might be something that she encountered a while back, and therefore is like trying to like make something of it while she's daydreaming.
I don't know.
I would say like she daydreams about being a comic book hero, because in her, like, she's a comic book fan, like the comic books exist about
Yeah.
real characters in this world, right? And so I think she starts to daydream her life as a comic book character. So she starts daydreaming and she starts to see like panels in her everyday life and stuff.
What do you
It's
think of
so
the,
sick.
what do you think of the powers? The powers is the big thing everyone's talking about. Like the fact she's not inhuman anymore.
I think from here, like,
It's just obviously
Yeah,
she's wearing some sort of cosmic bracelet that's giving her powers, and just that tire maybe more to, like Captain Marvel, maybe.
Shang-Chi,
Yes.
maybe?
Yeah,
Well,
I don't know.
The bands that she's actually wearing, I don't know if they're gonna call them this, but they're actually like they're the quantum bands. Marvel, this is how Marvel gets his powers.
Yeah.
The villain from Captain Marvel, right? Jude Law, who played him. So these are his power bands in the comic books, his quantum bands. So I don't know if they're gonna be like how she gets a hold of them or whatever.
Yeah,
But they're based off of him and his power set. So it's a huge change in the character, because her embiggen powers like had to do a lot with like the story itself and her as a character. With like her line of being, it's not really the brown girl from Jersey who saves the world. Her being able to like make herself bigger and her skin be like huge was kind of part of that. So it's gonna be weird how they juggle that.
Yeah, because it's really strange how they wanted to go in this direction because it's iconic. Like it's supposed to be similar or akin to the Spider-Man origins because she ends up having sort of like a tragic kind of turn of events because she's not, she's a kid still. Like it's like Peter. And when she's affected by the mist within the city, then that's when she's able to use her powers of like embiggen and shrinking and like other such abilities. And from that, like I feel like we lose a little bit of the luster of like who the character is. Simply putting on a band and then being able to use powers is kind of a cop out in my opinion. The only person that we've seen it so far do it kind of well was Shang-Chi. So this is kind of a toss up for me on how I feel about this.
Yeah, I need to see it. From what I've seen so far, and this is like, I don't know. I feel like this show's made for the younger Marvel crowd. I think it's for the younger audience. I think it's very much for teenage boys and girls who are in high school and shit. I'll still watch it and I'm sure I'll enjoy it, but it's definitely bottom of my list for kind of hype levels for the year for content. This is the thing I'm looking forward to least of all, but I'm definitely looking forward to having some new Marvel content, and we might get a cameo here or there. I don't know, hopefully. But yeah, I just don't know. I don't know, like, and the fact that we've heard about the likes of Black Bolt appearing in like Doctor Strange 2, it's kind of weird that they're taking away the whole Inhuman thing. If they're going to potentially have an Inhuman sitting on the Illuminati, like,
right?
It's kind of strange. It's kind of strange.
Well, we don't know if that's going to happen yet, so maybe it's not.
Well, true. I think it's from a pretty reliable source, though. I think so. I would be shocked if it didn't, really, to be honest.
Yeah. This definitely. I mean, it looks like it doesn't look like it in terms of production quality, but in tone, it feels like a CW show, right? Kind of similar to the Batwoman or the Batgirl show, whatever was running. Like, it's just definitely not meant for a couple of dudes in like their 30s and stuff. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not there for us. And the comic book wasn't, and that's why it wasn't like terribly successful, because it's like the market that this is aimed at. It's not necessarily like their comic book readers. They're probably there as MCU watchers because MCU cuts across like so much of the demographic and like who watches and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is for people who are in high school, early 20s, or who really just like that CW style of TV show where it's about young adult, your first love interest type of deal.
Yeah,
for sure.
The only thing that I would have to say though is that it may not have done well on sales, but it was iconic. This is an iconic character. This is an actual character that represents the Muslim like characteristics, and you can see that especially with the family that she resides in. They're Muslim. They practice their religion, and like it's really a big thing that hits with this comic series. That's one of the biggest things. That's one of the more iconic moments. It's much like when you see with Miles Morales or any other type of superhero that's of a different ethnicity. Like it hits hard when they do well in the comics.
Yeah, definitely. And I think my only thing would be, it's not necessarily her being a Muslim. It's just like a high schooler, right?
Yeah.
Where, I don't know if Spider-Man came out today with like Peter Parker first, like getting his first love affair, like how many comic book readers are super interested in that? It's like the people who love comic books have just grown up. And the comic book industry just hasn't filtered in a younger audience like they did in the 90s and 2000s, really.
For sure.
Well, and we can see that they're reaching now, especially with Kate Bishop and Miss Marvel.
Yeah,
so,
true.
Kind of wondering what we're going to see next in terms of like the younger types of superheroes.
Young Avengers, I bet. We're going to get a team-up movie with all kids.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I think it'd be fun, though.
I'm going to watch it, but I think it's more aimed towards the younger audience, of course.
Yeah.
Whereas I think it really depends how good it hits, how dark it is. You know, because like there's plenty of like Robin stories, for example, that are like good and they're adult. But then, you know, there's a lot of like Teen Titans stuff, and like not the Titans show from that's on right now, but like I mean more the cartoons and stuff like that's more obviously aimed towards kids, and it really depends. The tone could be very dark, and it could hit on all levels. But from what I'm seeing from like the likes of this, I think they are definitely trying to do stuff that they think is gonna do well with the Disney audience, like, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we'll see how successful it is. Like like you said, I'm gonna watch it. Like my interest isn't like super high up for it, you know. Especially because this thing's like coming out like a week after Kenobi launches. So like I'm gonna be fully invested in Kenobi because that's my childhood, right?
Hell yeah.
So maybe Miss Marvel gets, you know, her character comes back out with like a sequel show 30 years from now when people are in love with it. But I'm on Kenobi, man.
That's true.
That's gonna be a
true.
high bar. Such a high bar to like compete with, especially since it's really only like a couple weeks away from each other.
Yeah.
So like imagine
they cross over for like 3 weeks, I believe. I think there's 3 weeks where they're both gonna air in the same week.
I mean, this gets released like June 8th is a week after Kenobi's launch. Like Kenobi comes out on the 30th of March, and then June 8th is literally a week later. Like it's
Jesus,
right on the back of it.
So,
wow.
So imagine that first Kenobi episode hits so hard, and now Miss Marvel has to compete.
Hey, it's Hoppin from the Marvelous Chats. You guys just got done watching a clip from our podcast, the Marvelous Chats podcast, that we put out weekly here on YouTube. We put that thing out every Monday, and so if you want to watch the full podcast that this clip came from, make sure you click on the video you see on screen or down in the description below. You can go see that podcast and see everything else we talk about in that episode, because we talk about everything Marvel, we talk about everything DCU and Star Wars. If it's kind of in the nerdum and the geekdom, we will talk about it, because that's what we are. We're just geeks and nerds enjoying that stuff, trying to talk about our thoughts about it here on YouTube. So if you are into that idea and you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the subscription button. If you subscribe, we're trying to get this thing above 100, and then we'll get one of those fancy custom URLs that people get for that. Nice. And also leave a like on that video so that you can let other people know that you enjoyed the content, and YouTube will share it with people you know, or just anyone, because it's got a thumbs up. All right, that's gonna do it for the video. That's it for me shilling and trying to get you guys to do stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys enjoyed that clip. I'm glad you guys stopped in. All right, that's gonna do it. We'll see you guys on the next one.